let's just get right into it. I know the South Carolina life and health insurance exam can feel like this huge, intimidating hurdle, but it really doesn't have to be. In this explainer, we're going to crack that code, break down all the key concepts, and make them super clear and easy to remember.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to build a solid foundation with the core principles of insurance. Then, we'll get into the specifics of life and health products. After that, and this is the big one, we'll dive deep into the South Carolina playbook, the state-specific rules you've got to know. And we'll wrap it all up with a quick quiz to make sure everything sticks.
All right, first things first, the universal principles of insurance. You have to get these concepts down cold. Seriously, they are the bedrock for everything else you're going to learn for this exam. Okay, the first thing you have to get straight in your head is the difference between two types of risk. Insurance is all about pure risk. That's where you have the possibility of a loss, but zero chance for gain. Think about a car crash or your house burning down. On the flip side, you have speculative risk. That's your gamble, right? There's a chance to win, but also a chance to lose. Think stock market, think poker. Insurance does not touch speculative risk. So, what do we do about risk? Well, there are 5 basic ways to handle it. A great way to remember them is the acronym STAR. That's for sharing, transferring, avoiding, reducing, and retaining risk. When you buy an insurance policy, you're transferring the risk to the company. When you decide not to skydive, you're avoiding it. And when you install a security system, you are reducing the risk. Make sense? Right. Now, it's also absolutely critical to know about hazards. These are things that increase the chance of a loss. There are 3 types. A physical hazard is something you can see or touch, like a dead tree leaning over your house. A moral hazard, that's about dishonesty. Somebody lying on their insurance application, that's a moral hazard. And please don't confuse that with a morale hazard. That's about attitude. It's that "who cares, I'm insured" mentality that makes someone act recklessly.
Okay, now let's see how these principles actually apply to the products you'll be tested on. We're diving into the core knowledge you must have for life and health insurance policies.
You're absolutely going to see questions on the difference between term and permanent life insurance. Here's the simplest way to think about it. Term is temporary. It's like renting. You get coverage for a set period, and that's it. Permanent is for your whole life, and it builds up a savings account inside the policy called cash value. It's more like owning a home. One is temporary and affordable, the other is lifelong and builds equity.
When it comes to health insurance, you have to know these 3 cost-sharing terms inside and out. The deductible, that's the chunk of money you have to pay first before the insurance company pays a dime. A copayment, or copay, is that flat fee you pay for a service, like $25 every time you see the doctor. And then there's coinsurance. That's the percentage of the bill you split with the insurer after you've paid your deductible.
You'll also need to compare different types of health plans, especially HMOs versus PPOs. The simple breakdown is this. An HMO is all about structure. You have a primary care doctor, you stay in their network, and you need referrals to see specialists. A PPO is about flexibility. You have the freedom to go see doctors both in and out of the network without a referral. The trade-off is pretty clear. It's structure and lower costs versus freedom and flexibility.
All right, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. This is the most important section for your state exam. This is the South Carolina playbook, the specific laws, the rules, and especially the numbers that you just have to burn into your brain for test day.
And look, don't just take my word for it. The official study guides say it themselves. Knowing these rules isn't just a hoop to jump through for a test. It is the fundamental requirement for being a professional and ethical agent in the state of South Carolina.
Let's do a quick-fire round on the numbers you just have to know. Ready? First up, what's the minimum age to get your producer license? It's 18.
Next, to keep that license, how many hours of continuing education, or CE, do you need every 2 years? That's 30 hours.
And out of those 30 hours, how many have to be specifically on the topic of ethics? You got it. It's 3.
Okay, how long are you required to hold on to all your client records and transaction files? For 5 years.
And finally, a huge one for life insurance, the contestability period. How long does an insurance company have to investigate and potentially deny a claim if they find a major lie on the application? In South Carolina, that's 2 years.
Now, beyond just the numbers, you need to understand these big concepts. Fiduciary responsibility. That's your legal and ethical duty to always put your client's best interests first, no exceptions. The SC Insurance Guarantee Association. Think of it as a safety net. If an insurance company goes broke, this association steps in to protect policyholders. And the Unfair Trade Practices Act is the state's big stick to stop any deceptive or shady practices in the business.
Okay, we have thrown a lot of information at you. Let's do a quick lightning round to see what's really sticking. You ready for this?
First question, let's say you have a policy that pays you a flat $200 for every day you're stuck in the hospital. What kind of policy is that?
That would be a hospital indemnity policy. It pays a fixed benefit directly to you, and it doesn't matter what the hospital bill says. It's designed to help cover all those other costs that pop up when you're sick.
All right, next question. This one's on ethics. If an applicant tells a lie on their application, and that lie is so important that it actually affects the insurance company's decision to issue the policy, what's the technical term for that?
That is called material misrepresentation. And that word, material, is the key. It means the lie was a big deal. It was material to the decision. It wasn't just a small fib. It was something that changed the game.
And that really brings us to the whole point of this. What's the crucial takeaway here? It's that mastering all these rules, it's about so much more than just passing a test.
This knowledge is your foundation. The exam is just the first gate you have to walk through. The real work, the real test, starts the day you get your license. So the real question is, how are you going to take these rules and use them to become the trusted, professional expert that your clients not only need, but absolutely deserve? Good luck out there.